Have you ever thought back on a situationship or relationship that you had in the past? And when you thought back on it, you were like, this was not what I thought it was, like in my mind. Because I was thinking about a situation when I was like 17. So I said, let me come on here and tell y'all about this situation because looking back, I'm like, girl, what? So I had already known this guy from high school, but we never talked on that type of timing because he had a girlfriend and I had my own like little shit going on at the time. So it was just never like that. We were just cool friends. It was like a little flirting going on, but nothing like crazy. And then he ended up going to a different school for senior year, so it didn't like go anywhere. So fast forward after we graduated, we ended up reconnecting on social media. And so we would like talk and vent about different things and give each other advice about stuff and kind of like express our emotions about things. And at the time, I was like real down bad. Like I was going through some stuff. And he was also, kind of going through some stuff. So we were, being there for each other and I considered us to be like friends. Like I thought we were friends. We were cool, like on that type of level, but it wasn't anything like flirty or anything like that at first. And he would talk to me about this girl that, he was basically in love with and how she hurt him so bad because she didn't want to be with him because she had like realized she was a lesbian or she had came out as a lesbian. And so he was like super hurt about that. So he would like vent to me and talk to me about all the different ways that he felt about that and felt about her because he had been like crushing on her for a while, like for some years, I guess, and they basically didn't live too far away from each other. So with that, like it was over the years, I guess, this long thing that they had going on. So when that ended up happening, he like really felt away because he thought that they was about to be together, apparently. And then, she ended up saying, sorry, like I like girls, I'm a lesbian, I'm not gonna be with you, type of thing. So I would just, give him advice and, tell him what little bit of relationship knowledge that I had at 17. I didn't really have any, but I would try and, encourage him and give him advice on that. And I was, like I said, like really going through some shit at the time. So I enjoyed our talks and I enjoyed like the friendship and support that I feel like I was receiving from him at the time. So we would text and snap, and I feel like we would talk on the phone sometimes too. And sometimes he would drive like an hour to my school to like come hang out with me. One time he hung out with like my roommate. We would like go to Walmart because there wasn't really much there. So we would like go to Walmart, go like get food or drinks or whatever. Not alcoholic drinks, but like, smoothies or milkshakes or bullshit like that. And, just sit, talk in the car, like walk around, like do whatever, just chill and hang out basically, like on a friend type of time. And of course, me knowing what I know now, anytime you're talking to a man or being around a man or a guy a lot, you're gonna start like the lines are gonna start getting crossed. Like conversations are gonna start leading to a certain type of way. But I didn't know that at the time. So let me describe him to y'all. He was a white boy. He was older than me. So if I was 17, he had to be like around like 19. And he would always like, he thought he was so much older and mature and thought he knew so much more about life and X, Y, and Z and would be like, oh, well, you don't understand. Or when you get older, you'll understand. Or I know because I'm older than you. And I'll be like, you're 19. Like, you're not that much older than me. He had that kind of like white boy swag where he would he would wear Jordans and he had black friends, so you could tell like their swag kind of like rubbed off on him a little bit, like his outfits and stuff. I liked his outfits.
And he was tall. He was like 6'3". He had a beard, and I loved like facial hair. He had like hair on him, and I like love that white boy shit. Like I love that hair. I kind of still do like that like body hair shit. Not OD, but like I don't want no bird chest, or like no like taco meat on your chest. Like you gotta have a little, like I want to know that I'm with a man. You know what I mean? So I like that. He played basketball, so I was like, oh, you're cool. Like I like that. So fast forward, we had been talking for a bit. Um, old girl like broke his heart or whatever. And he started getting like, flirty with me, like telling me how he liked me in school, or how he would be looking at me in school, or how he always thought I was pretty and stuff like that. Mind you, I had only had one boyfriend before this, and that's who I lost my virginity to. And I was dating him, I think, from like me either being like 13 or 14 up until breaking up like after graduation. So that was all the like boyfriend experience that I had for real. And this situation was like in January, February, 8, 9 months since the last time I had did something with anybody. So, of course, after spending time with him, talking with him, texting, like doing all that shit, having him pull up on me, all that shit like that, I started, to like him back, and I was like, oh, like he's cute, like I like him, whatever. He's tall, he's got some money, or his family had some money, but he had some money too. So the plan was that, I would just basically come to see him after he got off of work, and I would stay the night with him. And I had never done anything like this before. But I was like, fuck it, I'm in school. Like, it's gonna be easier for me to sneak and do some shit like this. Like if I was living at home with my mama, I was not gonna be able to really like sneak and do no shit like that. But the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, shit, I'll do it. So I finished class that Friday, took my shower, I did all that stuff, and then I freaking got in the car and drove an hour back to my hometown after class. That was one of my first times driving at night. So it was dark. I was nervous as hell, like looking to make sure no deers or nothing was gonna pop out from the side of the road, because it was country as hell and dark. And if you know anything about that, then like you gotta watch out for all that shit. Get to his job, and he met me a few minutes later when he got off in the parking lot. And he came out there smiling or whatever. That part by his car. He had a real nice car, especially for us to be teenagers. He had a real nice car. And that's what I mean by like his family had money. Like I had, a decent car too, but his car was like, you could tell it was an expensive car. It was a big car because he was a big dude. He was 6'3". So like I was just like, wow, like I never seen nobody with this type of car. I never been in this type of car, whatever. He got out his job and like walked by my car, and I was just still sitting in there, and he went and took his damn shirt off and like changed and stuff in front of me, and I was like, ooh, child, because I was young. I never had nobody do no shit like that. So of course I like that dumbass shit. He got in the car, and I followed him to his grandma's house, and we chilled there for a bit. Nobody was there, so it was cool. He like showed me around, showed me his room in there, and we took some pictures in the kitchen, and we just talked and chilled for a bit. I left my car there, and he drove us to McDonald's, and he paid, and I was like, oh, how sweet, like a dummy. Because I had never had nobody, do that for me before. But because my first little boyfriend, he didn't have no car, he didn't have no license, none of that, didn't have no job. He He had got me little stuff, but he wouldn't buy me no food or shit like that for real. So I was just grateful for that. I was like, ooh, this is something new. Like, so anyway, after we ate, he drove us to his mama's house and basically had to sneak me upstairs to his room. And I was like so nervous because I had never done anything like that before. But yeah, you walked up the stairs and it wasn't like too bad because you walk in through the house and then like right there is the stairs. Walk up the stairs, it's just a door, and then it's just his room by himself up there. Literally, his closet was like full of shoe boxes. I had never seen anything like that. Like literally floor to ceiling shoe boxes. I even took a picture of it because I was like, what the fuck? Like all different types of like Nikes, Jordans, like all different shoe boxes. And he had some clothes like in a dresser, but I guess most of his clothes must have been in his grandma's house or something. I don't know. And it was late at this point. Like I know it had to be after midnight. And he went and like checked and I guess made sure his mama and everybody was asleep. And of course, you already know what we did. And it was actually pretty nice at the time, even though he was skinny and like his hips ended up hurting my thighs. It was only my second body, so I didn't have anything to really compare it to. Never in my life had I stayed the night with a boy or let alone, had to sneak in and out. So the next day, he let me have his little shirt, a Supreme shirt, where he was just like, yeah, it's whatever. And then when I ended up looking up Supreme shirts, I was like, damn, like, this is not a cheap shirt. But he was just like, yeah, whatever. He got plenty of them. So he let me have it. And then he had this other little, like, stuffed thing that he let me have. I don't want to give too much details, but this little stuffed animal thing, it wasn't big. It was like real small, like a little small thing, like that could fit in my hand. And he let me have that. And so he drove me back to my car and I went back to school.